is sponsored by Fial, your Jaguar and Land Rover dealer in the Algarve.
Book a test drive in the new Defender in the Fial showroom in Faro.
Welcome to the Portugal Diaries podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Claire, and on today's show we have Harriet and Miguel Campina, King and Queen of the Algarve. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I love the king.
Start off big. We start big.
I know, this is, oh dear.
Claire and I are super excited to have you on the show. We've got loads to talk about today. But before we start, for anyone who doesn't know you, how would you introduce yourselves?
No, you go. Talk first.
I'm just a local guy from Lole. Grandparents in Valdolobo, in the middle of Quinto do Lago, Valdolobo. So I always grew up around there. But basically from Lole. Lole is my main town. There was nothing else than Lole. So 50-year-old. Played some football. Been in the army. Few restaurants. Fun, food and drinks.
Harriet, you're English, so I mean...
I know, I'm a Yorkshire girl, born and bred. Then about 17 years in London. And then kind of my life just took a full U-turn overnight. And then here I find myself 15 years in the Algarve. This is my 15th year. Yeah.
So how
married.
do you guys even meet? So completely different backgrounds, grew up in different countries.
That's
How did
quite
you get together?
It's a nice story, isn't it? It's a good story. It was a bit of a twist of fate, really, because I'd been coming to the Algarve since I was about 16 with my parents. And then I actually had an apartment here. Anyway, when I was separated, my daughter was like about 1.5. I had this really random chat when I was out with some girlfriends. They were like, Harriet, we've got to go out to your apartment in Valdolobo for a weekend. We were like, yeah, you know. And then the next day, one of my friends had sent an email going, guys, I booked my flights. But we hadn't even discussed a date. It was just so random. But then we all made it happen. Came out here, ended up for dinner in Allenbeek because I used to go to Allenbeek, Miguel's family restaurant, with my family for years. And so we went for dinner, and I'd never met Miguel. It was really weird. Well, I do have one memory that I had met him buying garden furniture once upon a time. But apart from that, we'd never crossed paths at all in the restaurant. But I knew his dad, and I knew his uncle Paolo, who ran Allenbeek. So we went for dinner. Girls, you know what it's like, girls' dinner. But Miguel was actually our waiter that night. And then we went to the pub after, and we got chatting. And kind of the rest is history, really. After that, 3 years of dating back and forth between Miguel coming over, me trying to come here more often than him going there.
Yeah.
And then I came over and we got married. I moved here, and 6 weeks later we got married.
Wow.
And then we had Nico, and then we got Maria's. Well, Nico was a baby, yeah. So when we took over Maria's.
So when on that first night that you obviously were the waiter, did you look at Harriet and think, right, she's mine?
No. It was quite,
No.
Be careful.
Yes. What?
No, yes. But,
Correct.
Good answer.
Yeah, but, when you are in Allenbeek or in the restaurant business, you you look at the clients, they're all the same. You don't really. I
don't know how I believe that.
No, you don't really have when the clients walk in. You don't really have a plan. You've got all sorts of clients, and but basically that night was very interesting because Harriet stormed in with the girls, and the first person they see is Paulo, and then the first thing that Harriet says to Paulo is that, "Hi, Paulo, how you doing?" And Paulo said, hi, Harriet, how are you doing? And Harriet said, well, I'm separated. And that was and then Paulo came to me and he said, Miguel, that girl, the good looking girl with the husband, she's separated. She's free. And I said, well, today's Friday, the melting pot night. So we might go for a sing-a-song. So, the rest is
history.
But to be honest, I was, it's like when you're on a girls' trip, I was so chit-chatting with the girls because they didn't know each other. So, and I hadn't really noticed Miguel, I have to say. Anyway, he walked into the pub later and my friend said, oh my gosh, that guy was serving us some Maria's tonight. And I was like, sorry, was he? How did I miss that? Comes in his white t-shirt and his jeans, and sang with the band, The Outsiders. And that band, we had them at our wedding. They've been singing they're our Sunday band in Maria's.
No way.
And they've been singing every Sunday since 2012. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so they mean quite a lot to us because, Miguel sang, I don't know, a couple of U2
and
numbers.
the boys are actually my high school friends. So Paulo and Daniel, they went to school. They are my age. They don't look it. I look a lot older than them, but they are my high school friends. So they sing all these old songs, you know.
And actually, the funniest thing was that on the Sunday, Miguel was like, I kind of want to take you out for lunch with your friends to show my intentions, that, I like you or whatever. And we went to Maria's.
Oh, wow.
And we've got this photo of us having lunch in Maria's with them before it was knocked down. So this was 2007, September. And then it literally was knocked down, I think, in October or a little bit after that, because then it was rebuilt. So we've got this picture of us with the Maria sign, the old Maria sign behind us of our first date.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's really good. And so at what point did you go from, obviously you said you were coming back and forward, and then at what point did you think, I want to move over there? I mean, how did your friends and family react?
Oh, yeah. So I think I always said to Miguel, well, you made your intentions clear quite early on, but obviously I just was getting through a divorce and it was all, a bit crazy. But I think that I said to Miguel, I love Portugal, but I can't move there just for you. I need to be ready to leave London, because I was still enjoying my London life, and I knew it was going to be really different here. But I think it just sort of naturally happened, because I sort of have this saying, my little motto is leap and the net will appear. Yeah. And I just sort of had that faith, because I said to Miguel, because obviously when I was coming over, we were hanging out with young people. I'd left Amelia with her dad, kind of enjoying that single life. I was like, well, hold on, I'm coming over with a child that's going to be nearly 4. Got to put her into school. Who are my friends going to be? And Miguel's like, I know lots of people, but I didn't really know them very well. But yeah, I just came here and everyone was lovely. And, I got Amelia into school. So she started in a little school called San Lorenzo, which is really near here, actually. It was a lovely little school. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of, I think just doors open. Just no pressure, but just, I kind of had the faith. And I think my family and friends, they kind
Were they okay with it?
Oh, well, my parents were amazing, really. I think I just think everyone knew that we were kind of needed to be together. So, yeah, here we are.
And actually, your parents moved over, didn't they?
Yes, actually. And that was a real help, because about a year and a half later, because when we opened Maria's, Miguel was working all the time and I was at home with the baby. And, it did take me, it was very different here then than it is now. I had kind of a group of there was 10 young women living in the Algarve, and actually no one really had babies at the same time as me. So it was quite lonely. And Miguel was working all the time. So actually I was so grateful, because I really needed that. We couldn't afford a nanny. Things were not easy for us in the beginning at all. So my parents were an amazing help. So yeah, having them here. So I don't really have a home, here became home really quickly. And I never felt, just miss the old Marks and Spencer's and an online Sainsbury's shop, and obviously my friends and my brother, and that's it.
Really?
I just think you move over here. I think in the beginning you're like, I've got to go back and get my hair done at my hairdresser or my nail girl, or this and all those sort of things that you can't let go of. And I traveled quite a lot in the beginning because I had to take Amelia back to see her dad. I think it's quite disrupting, that possibly.
Yeah.
I think you've kind of just got to come in,
put both feet in,
get your feet on the ground, settle, and like you guys, met you guys, who are my great friends. I feel like we're just sitting on the sofa having a chat, but just sort of throwing yourself into making friends, and your friendship group does not come to you. You've got to go out and find it. Yeah. You've got to make an effort. You've got to say yes to everything. We didn't have all that. Well, I have played paddle, but over the years I've had different paddle groups, because you make friends, and then it's quite transient because there's people going, and I'm like, I'm not an expat. I'm here forever. Yeah. I'm afraid to tell you. And we've got our business here, so had to kind of throw myself into it.
Yeah.
So on the subject of business, obviously you've touched on Maria's a couple of times now. We know it really well. I'm pretty sure everyone who lives here in this small area knows it very well. Loads of people who come here on holiday love it and book way in advance to make sure they've got it on their schedule when they arrive. But how did that come about?
I'll let Miguel tell you that.
Maria's was a little house on the beach, and that was a proper house, like concrete, Algarvian, and it was owned by this lovely couple called Jose and Maria. So classic Christian names. Anyway, and unfortunately, they couldn't have kids. They didn't have kids. She had a condition. He also had a condition, and they didn't have any babies. And I used to go there with my grandparents on the old track, on the tractor, and we could see all the rental cars getting stuck on the sand roads. And so it was quite a paradise. And Jose and Maria rented that place to another gentleman that I'm friends with for a long time. And I used to go there all the time. Lunch, I used to go there with my family. And Jose and Maria, once they said to me, Miguel, the day that we decide to leave the restaurant, because we have this health condition, please let us know what are your intentions. So I knew that they were tired and the building needed to be refurbed, and then I made my approach nicely, because I knew there was a lot of people interested on buying that place.
Yeah.
And we bought the place, me, William, Harriet, Angela, and we did it. We did it the way it is, the way. So it's a fun place.
Did you always have that vision? Did you model it on anything you'd seen before, or is it something you had in your head?
I never understood why on the beach the restaurants would not open 365 days a year. I never understood that.
Yeah.
And I thought, we go everywhere. And we went to Cape Cod one day and outside Newport. I was like, the restaurants on the beach with heaters and candles. And it was a raining day, just after Thanksgiving. And I thought, we got to do something like this. Yeah. Open all year round. That's what we've done. Yeah. So it's a restaurant on the beach in the winter, and it's a beach restaurant in the summer.
And how else would you describe it? So you talked about, heaters and things in the winter, but I feel like you're massively underselling it. So for anyone who
It's kind of a
hasn't been
restaurant
there,
of all seasons, really.
Yeah, it is.
Because you get so many different clients throughout the year. People might think, oh, it's just a summer restaurant.
Yeah.
Because I go there with my family in the summer holidays. But you get January, now, yesterday it was really busy. You get lots of, you get the golfers, you get a lot of people coming from, say, Germany, France, other countries. There's different phases. And then, you come into the girls' weekends, the boys' weekends, the family time, the half terms. And I think, it's just...
It's a place that you can take your newborn baby with 1 week and your grandparents with 96, 98, 100. So it's just,
Yeah, I think that's really important, actually.
Yeah.
There's not many places that do that.
We cater for everyone. And I think it's important in this area that all the businesses think like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a small density populated place. And you need to cater for everyone. In a city, you can have private clubs, and you have enough people for that. In here, no.
Yeah.
You can't not restrict your business to one layer. You have to be for everyone.
And you just get such regular clients, don't you, who don't live here. You've got the people who come over here on holiday, whether they come here for the first time or whether they're regulars, which, when I first moved here, I was so surprised at how many people have been coming for years and years and years, and they come every year or every few months over here, whether they own a place or rent a place. But Maria's is kind of top of people's list. They're always there. And I just think to have that kind of loyalty, it must feel amazing to think, we've got this following of people who return and return. That says so much for a restaurant.
It's nice to see all the different generations coming, the clients that come, and then they bring the grandkids, and, and they enjoy it, and they enjoy the music, and they enjoy, it's a big family day.
But you have to, we never rest. We always, you don't notice, and when you walk in, it looks the same, but it's not. It takes a lot of work and a lot of deep and makeup work.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, you think like it looks brand new, but it is brand new. We've done everything. New cushions, new furniture, everything new, new equipment. So, but you need to do that.
Yeah.
And my prerogative is for a lot of years, a lot of the Portuguese families, okay, they never improved. They never improved the businesses. The shops were stuck in time. The restaurants had the same Pepsi Cola and sumo chairs. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
In a place like this, in a prime area like this, you need to improve your businesses. So I think, my family, apart from Harriet, obviously British, but my family, my Portuguese family, we always, in Alembic, in Bamboo, we always trying to improve.
Yeah.
In Maria's, me, William, Harriet, and Angela, we always try to improve every year. Even if we are doing really well, but we always do another 4 steps forward.
Yeah.
So then it always looks fresh, not tired.
And so have you got some big changes happening for this,
Well,
this
we have,
season?
yeah, we have. It's like I said, like if you walk in 2 months' time and you look at the rooftop and the rest of the restaurant, you look and it looks the same, but it's not.
Okay.
It's not. So it looks cool. It looks cool. The rooftop, it's all being refurbed. It will look nice.
Right.
But maybe if people in the summer walk in, they'll look, okay, I can't see any changes. Yeah, but they were made.
Yeah.
A lot. So it's quite interesting. It's quite motivating as well to have things happening.
Yeah.
You can't live your life without having things happening. You need to have things happening.
Yeah,
It's nice. It makes you on a good vibe to having a new band or a new DJ or a new show or something. A new dish, something nice.
And we get inspired from our travels as well on things, food wise. And even like when we did all the high chairs, we'd been where were we? Milan or Madrid. And we were looking around at all these bars where they had like the high tables and all the high stools around. We're like, this is such a great idea because, on the boardwalk when we have that, and you can just sit and sometimes people just want to stand and have a drink. Because I think that's also what we offer, it's sort of a bit of everything there because you can have the roof terrace experience, you can have the dining experience, you can also dine on the roof terrace, you can be on the boardwalk, have drinks, watch the sunset. There's sort of different, like if you've got young kids, for example, that boardwalk is ideal for running around
Keep
and
an eye on them.
keeping an eye on the kids. You want to just come off the beach, these are all sandy. So yeah, just sort of offering.
It's very social.
Yeah.
High tables, very social. We the main thing in talking about Maria's, the main thing is to make everyone feel comfortable. You can sit on those chairs for 4 hours and you're comfortable. You can, if you are on a high table, if your friends come along, they don't have a chair, but they can put the drink there, talk a bit. It's just a chill, a casual chill.
Yeah, we're lucky Miguel. Sorry,
okay.
but I just need to say, just to plug my mother-in-law's business because Miguel's mum owns a garden furniture business. So that's been amazing for us. So we really have very expensive chairs in the restaurant because when you're exposed by the sea and everything, you need to obviously have really good quality.
40 years company.
Yeah. And so she's provided all of that and all of the roof terrace sofas and everything. And it's a very comfortable chair. And when you want to sit and do a really long lunch, you need a comfortable chair.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? It does make a difference. So
What's your company called?
Adelino's.
I didn't know that. So-
Did you not?
No,
it's on the corner by Alan B.
Next to Alan B.
Yeah, the one on the corner.
I've seen that. I did wonder
Yeah,
if
I've
that
driven
was the
past
one.
it loads of times.
Oh,
but I didn't
she has the
realise
best
That
stuff.
was my mum's company was the first company in the Algarve to sell garden furniture. High-end, really high-end, like really design.
Yeah.
Nice.
And obviously in Maria's we benefit from that
Yeah.
because exposed to the natural environment all year round, and it's just
It's harsh, isn't it?
looks
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's
So,
half, yeah.
So over the years, you're bound to have had some really fun guests come through the doors. Is there one that stands out? I know you don't want to upset anyone by choosing
You
only
don't
one.
have to name names.
But is there someone that stands out that you think, okay, they were the most fun to have in the restaurant? Or even if it's someone that comes regularly that you just love to
We have a great guy that comes in the summer, and he has these wild shirts and these crazy glasses. And every week, every Sunday comes with a new shirt and a massive table of friends. And I think he's great fun. He always gets everybody up dancing, and
That's so good.
yeah.
And he just comes for the summer, so he doesn't live here.
No, actually, I saw him a couple of weeks ago, so
okay.
I think they have a house here, so they do come out a lot.
Okay.
But I don't know. He just popped to my mind because it's the shirt. I'm like, another shirt. And then the other day he had I think he's called Michael. Is he called Michael? I think he's called Michael.
Yes, Michael.
And then the other day I was like, oh, now we've got the winter version, but it's still the crazy shirt. Yeah. So that's nice. And he was always bringing you. It's nice when you bring people that are they're regulars, but then they're bringing
Their friends.
saying, we've told our friends. And you're like, oh gosh, hope expectations, you know.
Yeah.
So if you, so the year that you took ownership and got it started was 2000
It's opened in 2012, March.
2012. So what point would you say was the moment where you thought, this is it, we've cracked it, where it kind of skyrocketed? Because I know there was like a, dare I say it, the COVID part in the middle of, our time since then. What was the point where you kind of looked around and you thought?
To be honest, I knew it.
From the get-go?
I knew it because we travel a lot. We go to, fun places on the beach. And I knew exactly what was the plan.
Yeah, the formula.
And William, we spoke and we knew exactly what was going to be.
Yeah.
I was very secure of
that.
I don't know if it's unfair what I'm going to say, but I look at the coastline in the Algarve, and I see places, and I go like, why this place is not done for the whole year round, and taking advantage of this beautiful location with sunset, with this and that, and I just I know probably I'm being unfair because obviously each person is different, each person has different experiences, so I was very fortunate of belonging to a family that has Alambic and having the know-how of the smart casual restaurant service.
Yeah.
So, maybe other people did not have that experience. Yeah. Okay. So but we should, the guys on the beach, they should be creative and have good taste. And that will improve the whole coastline. Everyone, in the Algarve will have the best beach restaurants in the world. And that's
make it more of a destination even. Yeah.
I mean, around our area now, because when we took Maria's open, they used to close for about 4 or 5 months, didn't they? Oh. And a lot of them did. But now more and more of us are open in the evening. So that's great, because what do you want to do when you're on holiday? You want to gravitate towards the beach when it's good weather. And apart from today, we've had this rainstorm outside. Let's not mention the rain. It doesn't really rain much in the Algarve, let's face it. Normally, we have beautiful weather at the beach. Yeah. But we've got people sitting outside, and it's January.
I just want to make here one. We are very lucky in the Lule County, from Quarteira, from Vila Moura, all the way to Quinto do Lago, because the guys on the beach do a great job and really need all my colleagues. But I was not just talking about the Lule County. I was talking about from Sagres to Vila Real de Santo Antonio, the whole coast. Here in the Lule County is where we have, the best.
Good places.
But also there's other fantastic places apart from the Lule County. But my colleagues nearby, they do a fantastic job, as we all know. And I'm a regular of all of them. So
I do think there's always somewhere to go. And before I moved here, a lot of people said, oh, you might find it really quiet in kind of January, February, everything closes and this. But I think there's been a change, because not many things close now, and I feel like there's always somewhere to go.
Claire and Jen, you guys got the Algarve in Portugal on a good wave. because what happened in 2008, 9 and 10 was there was an absolutely return back to Britain, Ireland, whatever, because of the
really?
credit crunch, yes.
Yeah.
So we went from having the melting pot absolutely rammed on a Friday. It was like Wall Street on a Friday of real estate in 2000, the boom of real estate, and everyone trading, drinks at 6 o'clock, booming. And then you went from that stage to absolutely ghost down in 2008, 9, and 10.
Wow.
And then obviously it was, it's a little bit like it is now, but it was crazier
Yeah.
in terms of business. It was absolutely mad. Like Alembic was full, for example, all year round. On a winter night was absolutely rammed because it was the business vibe of real estate.
Yeah.
Was, the Irish economy was
Booming.
flying in those days. So there was a lot of trading.
Yeah.
And so you guys, now your experience, what was
Yeah.
before 2008, 9, 10? It was like this.
Let's hope
Do
no
you think
one
that
needs
trend
this.
will continue? Do you think it's going to continue to grow?
I
think
think, but Portugal, the Algarve, needs to maintain, which the government is doing a fantastic job, needs to maintain the level of society that we have, safety,
Yeah.
a cultural balance, and behaviors.
Yeah.
Okay, if we keep Portugal as a whole, because Portugal is not just the Algarve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
If we give Portugal balance, a very warm and a very warm and friendly country towards our tourists and towards anyone that comes to work in our country, then we have a good formula. Okay, apart from all the conflicts in the world, we will do well, like we did in COVID. I think COVID was fantastic. It was bad, obviously, and a lot of people passed away, unfortunately, of all ages. But for Portugal, was kind of a new day. Like was coming out of COVID, a lot of people discovered that this place is fantastic to live.
I mean, look how many people. We met you guys. Like most of my friendship group only moved here that recently,
Yeah.
and how many now? There's so many families. I used to drive around, and you'd see people, or you'd go into a restaurant, and I'd see someone a similar age with me, and think, oh, and I would kind of know them. Now it's everywhere. Like, oh, who's that? Who's that? I mean, don't know anyone. There's just, and all the schools now. I mean, there were no schools then. Now we've
They're
got
all on
so
wait
many
lists.
schools, and they're bursting, aren't they? So I think that it will continue, definitely, Jen. Yeah,
Do you think it's the shift of everyone realizing they can work from anywhere?
definitely.
Also,
Yeah.
IT helps.
Breathing a different quality of life.
And a great life for our kids, like our children.
Safety.
My kids grew up and have grown up here with really safe outdoor life. Mixture of, like Amelia even says that now, having friends that are older than her, not always just mixing within your year group. Like the kids are on the beach, aren't they? And you've got all different ages mixing together. I think it's an amazing life for the children and for us, our outdoor life.
Yeah, it's
paddle.
fully outdoor. Paddle.
Can't
So
go
go
without
on then.
mentioning the
We've
paddle.
mentioned
paddle.
paddle.
Sorry, paddle boards.
So tell us, what is it about paddle? Because obviously you play a lot. In a good way.
Yeah.
And we touched on this with our guest last week as well, and we obviously play too.
It's going to be a theme.
Tell us, it is going to be a theme all the way through. So tell us, paddle, what is it? But what would you say is the addiction? What gets you?
I think I on that court for an hour and a half, I'm smiling, even when I've done a bad shot. I think the noises that we make, especially us girls, when we do a silly shot, it's just fun, isn't it? I think it's just really social. We're lucky we play in our Monday paddle with a big group of us, 16 or 24, whatever it is. It's sort of, you kind of get in, you play some sport, you see your friends, and then you all go off and do your things. So it's such a great way of socialising. And apart from today, it might be rained off. Generally, we never have that problem, do we?
Yeah.
And we've been playing together, so that's nice to do that. And you still prefer tennis, don't you? Do you?
Do you really?
No.
I think tennis is more physical.
Okay.
Obviously, if you play paddle on, on like level 2 or something like that, you run a lot. But if you just play leisure, you basically you don't run that much. But I love tennis.
Yeah.
Tennis is more intense.
Yeah.
A lot of the top paddle players, top tennis players are now, well, Andy Murray loves paddle. He was filmed the other day, and then I think it was maybe Djokovic, I'm not sure, said that there's actually a bit of a worry that because for every tennis court you can fit 3 paddle courts there, so a lot of tennis clubs are actually going more towards paddle. So there's a bit of a concern that paddle's taking over the world.
I think if you like people who don't play paddle think that we're such. My brother always tries to ring me, and I was like, "Sorry, can't talk playing paddle," and it's become a bit of a joke. But I'm like, I think it's if you know, you know, isn't it?
100%.
It's just fun. Yeah, I do. I love it.
It's a
social
great game.
aspect as well, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you're
Great
saying you
game.
can play
It's
with
very
Miguel, you
social.
can play with your friends. You're always doing it in 4s, so
And mix as well. Like, yesterday we played like 50% girls and guys. That's good. That ups our game. Then
It does.
we're obviously trying to do some competitions, and I've done a competition with Miguel.
Do you remember when we went to Ibiza once and we were in the hotel and we could hear all night these Spanish guys shouting,
playing in that paddle
and they were
court.
like, "Pa, pa." We were like, this was like 2008, 2007, and that was, and I looked outside the window, so like, what is that game? So then after 2 years, they had a paddle court in Faro, near Gambelas, and I used to go play with the boys, and that's when I started. Play paddle 2008, 9.
I hadn't even heard of it then.
No, but it's the climate threat, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's it?
And then the campus started in 15.
Do you know, I can't remember what year the campus.
And they launched, and they had this, the guys back then, they pushed the paddle tournaments, and everyone from the Algarve used to rock up on a Tuesday or a Thursday to play level 2. Wow.
That's the goal, isn't it? Level
That is
2.
the goal.
Wow. We can always
I
dream.
just want to get to level 3. I played level 3 with him, but it's good to put out yourself out. I think as well, you could get yourself out of your comfort zone. I think that's important. It's something I'm trying to do as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Always still have these things to get a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Push yourself.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole Portugal, because I know we've covered Portugal a lot, but we are the Portugal Diaries. You touched on it. What do you miss the most? I think you said M&S.
Yeah, M&S. I do miss a bit of M&S. When we went back for Christmas and we got our Airbnb, just that sort of aesthetic of my fridge with a few M&S bits in it. It's just so, what are you going to have for dinner? Oh, M&S bits. Yeah, it's that, isn't it? And it's very basic, but it literally is just that. My brother, who's in Yorkshire, who I only really see once a year, and my best friends that I grew up with, but they all come on holiday here with their families. So I've been so lucky because that I actually moved to a destination where people actually come here. So I feel I don't really, I mean, of course, look, I'm British. I love it. I'm about to get my Portuguese passport because I've applied for that as well. But, my dad was worried. Well, what does that mean, that you have to give up your British passport? No, I'm a Yorkshire girl. That's not changing. But here is home.
Yeah. What about the language? How was that? Because obviously, Miguel, you're fluent in Portuguese. Harriet, I'm assuming you had to start from scratch.
So, I decided to learn when I just felt I was sitting next to him and there was a lot of conversations going on, and I didn't like that I didn't understand. I'm a linguist. I did French and Spanish at uni.
Okay.
So I lived in France, lived in Spain, spoke those fluently. So actually, I'm really lucky. It was a lot easier to learn. And Miguel's, basically my tutor when I started to have lessons is Miguel's cousin.
Okay.
We like to keep it in the family. She runs a little school. I did one-on-one lessons with her. And I just did them with her and then I got pregnant. I was so poorly, I couldn't really continue the lessons, but with Nico. But just having the practice to chat.
How long did it take you to get fluent, would you say?
Oh, gosh, even now I wouldn't. I guess I'm fluent. I can get by and speak. Yeah, I am fluent, but I'm not. I'm always wanting to do better. It's complicated. The tenses are quite complicated, so I might not always say things completely correctly, but I can get by well. Yeah, but we don't. We speak Portuguese together when we're with people. Miguel speaks Portuguese with Nico. and I speak English with him. And then if obviously we're with Portuguese people, we speak in Portuguese. But yeah, I mean, for me, obviously our life is quite Portuguese as well. I need to be able to speak the language. So, yeah.
I guess the final question on Portugal is, what would your advice be to anyone thinking of moving here?
Go for it.
Really?
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, look, most people come with the idea that they're going to stay for a year, and they stay for a lot longer, and they don't go.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
1
no,
year.
for me.
I think it's
gap
like
year,
if you give that, like, it's hard. I mean, look, I understand it's hard. People are leaving families, friends, but I just think it's a great life here.
Yeah, it
We're
really
all,
is.
we wake up every day, mostly 365 days, to this amazing blue sky. And I think that you just can't underestimate that. People say when their kids have grown up, like even Amelia, she grew up here, my daughter, she's 19 this week. She grew up here, and then you go to England and it's that sort of grey, sort of oppressive sky. We don't
kind of
have that.
locked in
I think
sky.
it does make you, there's just something about the air here and the way of living and being out in nature and blah, 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 being by the sea. It's just a great life. And we can travel, we do skiing, we go to cities, we can nip into England, you can go to Ireland. There's so many, like Faro to New York has opened. We're so accessible here. We're right in the heart. We drive to Lisbon a lot if we need a bit of city. We drive to Seville. We drive to Madrid. Takes us 6 hours to get to Madrid.
No, but you touch the spot, which is the Algarve was for a long time strangulated by restrictions on the airline slots and even highways for a long time. And and I'm not scared of saying this because I say it all the time. The Algarve, if it wasn't the foreign investment in the Algarve and all the Scandinavian companies in the beginning, and then the British, the Irish, the Germans, and all this investment has obviously improved and made and forced the government of Lisbon to invest in the Algarve, in the airport, in highways, in trains, because we were absolutely strangulated.
Yeah.
In this way, people can settle in the Algarve and be able to travel easier to Madrid, to Lisbon, to Seville, to London, to Dublin, to Frankfurt, you have access to Paris, you have access to intercontinental flights better than if you are in the centre of London. Get a train.
Yeah, it's true because
such
you
an
end
easy
up taking.
journey.
It's so
Yes,
easy
so-
because you're so connected.
15
here.
minutes to the airport, through it quickly because it's such a small airport, and you're in Paris or
And then
wherever.
you can
And then you have Seville Airport and you have Lisbon Airport. In any minute, you can get anywhere you want.
Yeah. So, okay, we are wrapping up, really. So we're going to come... I did want to touch quickly on... I know we're kind of coming out of time, and we do have some very exciting quick-fire questions for you. But before we do that, I just want you to quickly mention your jewellery, because you make the most amazing jewellery. In fact, you're wearing some of it now, aren't you?
Yes.
So
My Algarve jewellery is my kind of Insta handle, yeah. I made jewellery like 18 years ago, and then I decided last year that I wanted to do something. Nico's now 13, my youngest. I was like, right, I want to do another little business. So I started that, and it's going really well. Thank you.
I know. Well, actually, you'll be hard pushed to find anybody who's not... Well, actually, Jen, because you're not much for jewellery wearer, are
I
you?
did buy a
She
piece.
did buy a
She did
bracelet.
wear a piece.
My daughter stole it off me before I'd even had the chance to wear it. So I hardly ever wear jewellery.
I am wearing one of your pieces here. It's like a bit buried amongst my thing. But, you go in and see all the girls if we all play paddle, or you see
Everyone's
everybody on a
wearing
night
it,
out.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's one of Harriet's. Oh, that's one of Harriet's. Because it's just so wearable. And, there's some pieces that were like real summer pieces, but then so many others that were kind of like, oh, no, they work with that. They work with like a turtleneck or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
No, I've
it's
been
gorgeous,
really
gorgeous.
happy with it. I've had a lot of support, and I think because of my Instagram, I had a bit of a following anyway. So yeah, it's just been so nice to get the support of people, and when they're out here, they can buy it or I can post it to them. So
Well,
yeah,
for
I love
anybody
it.
listening, we will obviously put that in the show notes of today's show, where you can get it from.
Thank you.
But yeah, going on to our quick-fire questions that we've come up with. Jen, do you want to go first?
Sure. Quick one to start. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Leap in the net will appear.
I love it. I love
love
it.
that
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
though.
perfect.
Yeah,
We take it in turns.
Yeah, go on then. Okay, so this is for you then, Miguel. Your go-to comfort food.
My comfort food,
Yeah.
massinha de peixe.
Oh, yeah.
The fish. It's massinha de peixe. It doesn't have a translation,
Okay.
but it's like a fish soup with pasta.
Fabulous.
So tomato based. Yeah.
Love it. Harriet, next one for you. Sunrise or sunset?
Oh,
They're both so good.
yeah,
here.
I know they're so good. I've got to say sunset. I've got so many
Yeah.
photos of sunsets on my phone. Love
Right,
a
okay, and
sunset.
finally, Miguel, for you, what is the best piece of advice you have received in your life?
It's from my dad and Harriet. Believe in yourself.
Love that.
Oh, finishing on a high there.
I know, I love that. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We've absolutely loved
guys.
having
Loved
you.
it. Really
Thank-
nice.
It's been amazing.
It's been so good.
Great way to spend a Monday morning.
Monday morning. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Portugal Diaries podcast. Tune in next week for the next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe and rate and review. You can also follow us on our socials on the Portugal Diaries podcast on Instagram. See you there.